What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Properties and Pour Overs podcast. My name is Adam Colburn, and today I have a very special guest, my good friend Andrea Cannon. What's going on, Andrea?
Hey, Adam, thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day to share your story. And so, just to introduce yourself to our listeners, can you tell me where you're located in the country and what does your business look like currently?
Yeah, so a little bit of a loaded question. I'm recording this from Salt Lake City, which is where I've been for the past several years, but we are moving to Reno this weekend. So probably by the time this airs, I will be located more permanently in Reno, but that feels crazy to say.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very
Yeah.
cool.
And I'm originally from North Carolina, so not too far from you, which is very exciting. My parents are in Greensboro, and they have lived there since I was 7. So it's been the past 30 years they've been there.
Yeah.
So lots of ties to North Carolina as well, but moving a little bit farther away.
Sure, sure. No, I love it. Yeah, Greensboro. My sister and brother-in-law live up there, so we're up in Greensboro all the time.
Oh,
Love that
nice.
area. So,
Very.
but yeah, tell me what your business looks like right now, because obviously I know you're juggling lots of things. But kind of give me a 30,000 foot breakdown of what your business looks like currently.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you kind of all the pieces and then we can dive in on whatever you're interested in. So,
Sure.
I'm a pharmacist and I work actually for a full-time for a pharmaceutical company doing oncology clinical trials. I also am an investor, so I buy properties, just buy and hold. I haven't done any fix and flips, and honestly, they're not that interesting to me. They sound kind of scary and intimidating.
They can be for sure. Yes.
Yeah. But I have a variety of different exit strategies that I've used. So, long-term rental, short-term rental, mid-term rental, co-living. So, a lot of different options on those that I have so far. And then also doing private money lending. So, primarily first position loans that I have done so far, and then connecting others to the people that I have done first position loans with. So, only deploying my own money from my self-directed IRA and my checking account, things like that. Getting those good experiences and then connecting other people with those people specifically going forward. So,
Yeah.
no random connections or
Sure.
anything.
Vetted operators. Yeah.
Yes, vetted
Absolutely.
by my personal funds operators.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I've done content creation. I did that full time for a small portion of time, around 10 months, pivoted away from that full time, but I'm still in the content creation game. And so definitely generate revenue from content creation as well.
Love it. That's awesome. And so obviously you've been in pharma for a while, I
Mhm.
assume. When did you make the jump into real estate and I guess why? Or how did that even come about? Because obviously like you love what you do and I get to see all the cool things you're doing. You get to travel a lot for work, which I think is unique to your position. But where did real estate come into the picture for you?
Yeah, so I really always wanted to get into real estate. I tell people, which this is true, but kind of embarrassing. I did bring real estate investing books on my honeymoon to Santorini, and just
Nice.
downtime reading.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of themes, like if you hear around the course of my, investing journey, that I have really leaned in on trips. I learn and try to do personal development while there because I feel like I'm in like my most relaxed state.
sure.
And so, like the first time I ever really dove into anything Pace Morby related was on a family trip to Alaska. That's when I read his Wealth Without Cash book, and I immediately started making phone calls when I got home. So the honeymoon thing, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah,
You know me.
sure.
So always wanted to get into real estate, but I finished pharmacy school and did residency and had worked for a couple years while I was dating my boyfriend, fiance, now husband, and he was in medical school, undergrad, then medical school. And so
Yeah.
that took a long time and we got married and then we moved from North Carolina where we met and where we went to school to Utah for him to do his residency. We moved away for him to do his fellowship and then we moved back to Utah. And so that's kind of the course of our situation. But he had student loans that we obviously needed to pay off.
Sure.
And I just didn't feel very stable. Like we're, moving around. We didn't know where we were going to be. I was just like, man, I don't know that this is like the right time to get involved in real estate. Hindsight's 2020, and it definitely would have been fine to do that, but
Right.
I didn't really know.
Yeah,
So
totally.
bought a primary house and lived in it, and then, it appreciated a ton through COVID. So had made a nice chunk of change when we moved to Oregon. Didn't buy anything there. We knew we'd only be there for a year, and then started really going at it when we got back to Utah. So
Gotcha.
expanded. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. So you guys bought your primary in Utah, were there for the residency. you move
Mhm.
away, but you're able to collect a lot of those extra proceeds. And since it was your primary, it's not
Yep.
taxed, right, as your homestead. And then that's kind of the nest egg that you use to jump into investing. Am I tracking right?
Yes, that's exactly right. And that's
Perfect.
the weird part about it, though. So we came back, we have this big chunk of change, right? I mean, out west things appreciate a lot, and we
Yeah.
really Utah at a really good time.
Hmm.
So the property value, like, I don't know, it almost doubled in the
You're right.
time. It wasn't that long, and we didn't
Yeah.
do anything to it. So it's like complete luck. Like this is not like
Sure.
any these mad
The
skills
strategy.
one
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Right.
But so we took that money and we invested it in a duplex. We really wanted to do like the kind of house hacking model where we're
Sure.
living side and we're renting out the other.
Right.
But because of the timing, he's finishing his residency or excuse me, his fellowship, and then we're taking a couple months off in
Yeah.
between in the new job. And so they wouldn't qualify us for owner occupant like down payment. So we
Okay.
ended up putting 30% down on a very expensive duplex. And
Wow.
so I took a large portion of that,
Sure.
as well as we moved in. I actually absolutely hated living next to our tenant.
Right. Yeah.
Like a small place. It just wasn't like, we would go skiing. We were really, really close to the mountains. It's about 20-minute drive to ski, like actual skiing where they've had the Olympics, like very, very
That's
good.
awesome. Yeah.
Would come back, there was no storage, and like the skis would go in the living room, and I was just going absolutely nuts. So yeah,
Yeah.
ended up so he bought the, duplex under his name. So 6 months later, I bought a little bungalow in my name. And we moved out and we rented both sides.
Both
We still have
sides.
duplex,
Sure.
but we rented both sides and moved into this bungalow
Yeah.
and put a little bit more than 10% down on that. And at that point in time, we'd kind of gone through that little nest egg of money from
Sure.
our home sale. And I'm like, wow, like that was $300,000 down on properties. Like what?
Yeah. How do we keep going?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I can't like accumulate money that quickly. Like,
Right.
how
Yeah.
is everybody else doing this? And I kept asking these questions like out loud, like, man, how's everybody else buying all these houses? Like, what's everybody doing? And your
Right.
phone is always listening to you. And I
Oh
started
yeah.
getting targeted ads from Pace Morby on
Sure.
Facebook.
Yep.
Here we are.
Yeah. Totally. That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
cool. And so do you have a specific market that you guys like to invest in on your holds right now? Is it all in like the Midwest, or are you doing some out here in the Carolinas? Like what kind of break down your current portfolio for me?
Yeah, everything right now is in Utah.
Okay.
So we have 10 doors all in Utah. I'd like to get something in North Carolina. In my buy box specifically, I have something in Wilmington that we could use as a short-term rental
Okay.
because husband's family is in Wilmington and
Hmm.
there's more to do in Wilmington than
For
Greensboro.
sure there is. Yeah.
And in our like midterm range goals are in about 5 to 10 years, we'd like to be a little bit more location independent than we currently are. And
Yeah.
so it bounce between around 4 different places. So Wilmington, Salt Lake City, which is the property that I'm in right now, St.
Hmm.
George, we have that property also, which is southern Utah. It's close to Zion National Park and great golfing for my husband. And then we also had on our list, which is kind of crazy that we're moving there because this has been on there for a while, but Lake Tahoe area and Reno is 20-minute drive from there.
Yeah.
So pretty cool that we will be on the hunt for the Reno property next. We're moving into a furnished rental, so that's not anything that we've bought, but we're going to be on the hunt for one. We've kind of been looking, but everything needs to be seller financed there. There's no like sub two opportunities in any
Right.
capacity.
Yeah.
Totally fine, but you know that seller financing people usually are all about that gain and want like
Yeah,
a
for
million
sure.
dollars down or something. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I'll take 70% down and 10%
yeah.
interest. Yeah, that sounds like a good deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just need to find the right one.
Sure.
And then the Wilmington property will be next for us.
Gotcha. Very cool. That's awesome. And so with your current portfolio, are you guys all self-managing? Are you working with a property manager for these? And are they all long-term rentals for the 10 that you currently have?
So not all long-term rentals are a mix of
Okay.
things. It's also a mix of whether there's a property manager or not.
Gotcha.
We get a property manager for the duplex that we bought because we were like, man, we like live here already. We've lived here. We like know the property
Sure.
really well, and it seems kind of silly. So we haven't gotten a property manager for that one, but
Hmm.
we moved into that bungalow, and we once again, we were only there for about 6 months because I found the place that I currently live in, at least for the next week, which was an awesome sub-2 deal on $1 million home here in Utah. And like my absolute like favorite spot in the valley, really, really close to the mountains.
Right.
And it's in a gated community.
Yeah.
It's just
Dream
absolutely,
scenario. Couldn't say
yes,
no.
dream scenario.
Yeah.
And like no money down, which was insane.
Wow. That's amazing.
3.49% interest rate. It was my first creative deal, and we've absolutely loved this house. It's the thing I'm the saddest about moving is I don't own
Sure.
a house.
Right. Totally.
But so yeah, so then we now have that bungalow that's open, and we have a property manager for that who's been doing it as a midterm rental, and it has been just absolutely incredible. So, like I said, like a nice mix. Others are long-term rentals, and a short-term rental property
Hmm.
managers versus not, like things like that. So none of the
Sure.
long-term rentals have them.
Yeah.
And then I own two co-livings with partners, and I do not do any of the management. That is my partners that are paid separately as managers for
Sure.
that side
Makes
of the
sense. Cool.
piece.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you've built up a sizable portfolio. When did the private money lending piece come in for your business?
Yeah.
Um, and kind of walk through how that progressed for you.
Yeah, so I think it's a lot like how other people start in fix and flipping and they maybe start pivoting towards buy and holds a little bit or some other thing.
Sure.
You realize like how active fix and flipping is. It's been a similar concept for me. Like originally I was like, okay, I'm gonna have 10 doors in the next 5 years. So check, like that's
Hmm.
done. But it there's so many like one-off random things, like even with property managers that you end up having to deal with.
Right.
Um, and it just doesn't feel like I can ever get quite streamlined. Like while I was in New Zealand, one of my tenants texted me asking me, hey, I saw this notice on the door. It's a new tenant and they have been, it's in Southern Utah, St. George. So they haven't used like much gas, I guess. And they were like, we got to notice that like it hasn't been paid. I was like, you're the one who's supposed to pay.
Yeah, that's your utility, pal. That's hilarious.
And it's just like, I mean, that was obviously a really easy
Sure.
thing. Like it,
But they're
here it is.
still connected to you. You're still getting the problems. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And so obviously there's still issues that come up with private money lending, but a lot of those things are if you're finding good, trusted, vetted operators who are, you're co-lending with or anything like that, or you trust to do your deals,
Right.
that those headaches are very, very minimal and can be timed at a more ideal situation, right? Like if I have like big life event coming up, right? If there's something really going on in my life, I can just say no to an opportunity to lend right now,
Sure.
right? And I can deploy funds after that. And so just the time, like obviously you need to be able to turn around your money pretty quickly, but other than that, you can select the timing when you need to do so. And it has been a truly passive experience for me, which has been really nice because we have chosen those really good operators to work
Yeah.
with. And so, when we were at Owners Club, I was talking with someone else who does private money lending, and I was like, I'm doing private money lending, but like I'm not really doing anything. So it kind of feels weird because I'm like one of
Right.
the people that
Because
like is
money just appears and it's like I still keep going on my trips and stuff. It's
yeah.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I don't really have to like do stuff, and I
Right.
like feel weird about that kind
Sure.
of like,
Yeah.
and so that is really just with my lifestyle and the other things I have going on because I do really enjoy my W-2 job. It's just not necessarily the most stable of jobs.
Sure.
So I, want to have that as a backup plan, but I want to continue to be, really good at my job, and I also want to continue to travel a ton, both for work and for fun.
Right. Totally. Well, and I think it fits your lifestyle super well because you don't have to be hands-on in the trenches of the deal. And like you said, like you haven't personally done any fix and flips because there's a lot of risk, and there is. Like let me tell you, I've been smacked around on a lot of different deals, and but I do enjoy the process of actually getting my hands dirty and stuff, but it's a whole different use case, right, for the lending side. And so if you're weighing the options, right, like you in your head is like, well, I could be meeting contractors and having to order paint and stuff, or I could be walking some cool hike in New Zealand and still be making money. Like that sounds like a way better option, right? And so, yeah, I think getting to that mindset of like, oh, it's okay. I don't have to be doing anything. I've already done my part. The operator now takes it from here, and then we both make money at the end, and it's great. It fits your lifestyle. So that makes a ton of sense, and why being a private money lender can be really attractive if you're attached to the right operators, for sure.
And I think the other thing is I probably would have started with private money lending, but I didn't really realize. I mean, you think about the home prices in Utah, right? And I want us to be as safe and protected as possible. And so if you're going to be on a first position loan, the median home price is over 500,000, maybe 600,000 or so.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a lot of money to be
Yeah.
like,
Throwing
first.
around. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you go for places like the Midwest, the Carolinas, obviously plenty of places in the Carolinas can be expensive, but there are, less expensive homes there. Atlanta, places like that, where you can actually get into something that is less.
Yeah.
You're able to actually deploy your money in multiple deals and have a lot of success. So I think that was really a shift for me because I thought, oh, like I'll have to like make millions to then be a private money lender. And that's
Right.
just so.
Yeah, totally. Well, and it's interesting, like once you get into that space, like all the different types of lending that there are, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like you said, you focus primarily on first position, but I have a lot of people that only lend as like gap funding, right? Where somebody will go get hard money or another private money loan for that first position, but they just need a little bit to cover the carrying cost or something else because they
Mhm.
don't have a lot sitting like a giant nest egg that they can pull from, but they still want to get involved, right? And so they can go in a little bit more risky position, but they can obviously charge some more, hedge that protection, still vet the operator, but then they can still get involved. So it's more the opportunity is open to more individuals, regardless of how much money they have sitting aside, which is cool. So then even the folks, especially now with like the fractional and other different things that you can do, kind of crowdfunding for deals. Like even people that have as little as $5,000 can jump into something, learn the process, and still get a return. Like that's super cool.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, I think it's nice that we have kind of come across all those things since we've been involved in, the various communities, because I think it's so key that if that is something that interests you, then you can get started way sooner
Totally.
than you thought.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and like you said, your experience has seemingly been very positive, right? And you're working directly to vet these operators before you bring them to other people to
Mhm.
say like, hey, this has the Andrea stamp of approval. This person's going to take care of you. Um, and we know that real estate in general is not without its challenges, right? And so, can you give me an example of like a big hurdle that you guys have had to overcome over the last few years in your investment journey and kind of the mindset that you had to reach to get over that challenge?
Yeah, so I can think of two things, and one is I've kind of touched on it already, so I'm going to just retouch on that because I think
Sure.
it's an important thing. I had always heard, I'd done a lot of reading about real estate investing and just looking at loans in general. I thought I had to have 25% down as a minimum for investing in properties. And so I started on that path, of course, and putting that significant chunk of change down. But reading Pace Morby's book Wealth Without Cash was an absolute line in the sand of time change of my life for me. Like
Yeah.
before I knew about creative finance, and then after I knew
My
about.
eyes were opened. Yes. Right.
Yeah, that was so big. And it's funny because when I told you I was having these targeted ads come to me on Facebook, and my immediate first thought was, well, that's a scam, right? How to
Right.
buy properties with no money down.
Yeah.
Ew, like that sounds just like absolutely scammy.
Yeah.
It's bit like anything. I'm like, oh, that is not what I have been learning this entire time. And that is a huge mindset shift for me that had to happen. And I'm so glad that it did because I would not be, first off, we wouldn't have known each other. And second
Sure.
off, I probably would have three, maybe four properties, and I would have a lot of equity tied up and
Yeah.
everything.
Well, even in the house that you're sitting in, you wouldn't own that house. Yeah.
Oh my God. And I love this. I love this house so much.
It's
So,
amazing.
yeah, so I think that was a huge shift for me. And if you are listening to this and you haven't read that book, I would honestly just so recommend it. It's not going to give you all of the steps of everything, but it will start opening your eyes to creative finance. And it is just, oh man, it
Yeah.
was a game changer.
The
So that was
possibilities.
yes, that
Yeah.
was like the mindset shift once I was already in real estate, but how to shift in real estate. And then
Hmm.
I had a hurdle also earlier this year that is still working itself out, but I might as well talk about it. I think that maybe you can relate somewhat. We had a property, a short-term rental, and I was in Chicago for work at a conference, and Sometime in the middle of the night, the tenants messaged that there was water pouring from the ceiling.
Mm.
And so it turns out that the air conditioner, they had turned it on when it was too cold outside. It froze the pipes and then they
Uh,
burst. And so the air conditioner water was just pouring from the ceiling, and they didn't know what to do, and it's 3 a.m. So they decided that the best course of action was to leave.
oh no.
So water poured, not like
Yeah.
dripped,
Oh
like
yeah.
actually poured from the ceiling for many hours.
Hours. Yeah.
And it was finally noticed in the morning around, I don't know, like 7, 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Because someone was leaving the garage and saw that there was water pouring from the ceiling of the garage, and my unit is directly above the garage. So you would know that there's no way there should be water pouring
Yeah.
from the garage.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
That's not a normal
yeah.
activity. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like right in the middle. Like it's not even close to the edges, like
Oh my
anything like that.
goodness.
So they had to call the fire department, have the company come and shut the water, or the fire department come and shut the
Hmm.
water off, and then start investigating where it was coming from because they didn't know. And so yeah, so that was a fun experience and navigating insurance. And like I said, it poured from the ceiling of mine all the way through to the garage. So, there's been all these layers of things and
Right.
um, multiple insurances from like the HOA and then as well as mine. And people just doing really, really bad jobs at the repairs and everything. So that's been quite an interesting learning experience for me.
Yeah.
Um, and I had already started private money lending at this point in time, but it is a nice reminder when I see a deal that I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. It's really good. It's a nice reminder that I am not going down that path at the moment.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter, like a property manager or not, they're not going to take care of that scenario.
Right. Well, and
There's,
honestly, like, how do you plan for somebody like the pipes bursting in your HVAC unit in the winter? Like, that's not something that you plan for.
yeah,
So yeah, that's a wild story. Wow.
yeah, yeah, so fun.
Yeah.
Real
That's
estate ain't bad. It'll be fun.
right. Yeah. That's crazy. Well, well, yeah. Similar things happened to me on a flip, but um and I guess the one silver lining for you is that you probably will get a little bit back from insurance, where mine was just straight negligence from contractors. So I just fit that bill, but again, it's not for the faint of heart flipping houses.
No.
Um, so sitting in that private money lender seat does look a little bit more attractive every day when I'm flipping. But just to continue our conversation, obviously we connected in Owners Club, right? Pace Morby's mastermind, and it's been great to get to know you. And one of the big kind of pushes that Pace wants all of us to do is this Mount Everest, this big goal that we're going to chase over the next 3 to 5 years that we can't do on our own, right? We need to collaborate with other people in the community. And so I'm just curious, what is your Mount Everest?
Yeah, so mine's all focused on lending. So originally, I think when everybody started their Mount Everest, I thought maybe co-living would be a good fit for mine.
Yeah,
And we have purchased several co-livings, and I decided that the amount of income that I would need to generate from these co-livings, I didn't want that many tenants or properties, even if I wasn't the one managing them.
right. A lot of moving parts. Yeah,
Yeah, a giant, giant headache. And so I thought really about the lifestyle I have and the one that I want to continue, and the people like me who maybe are also healthcare professionals or just, corporate workers in general. What type of thing, like who can I help, right?
yeah.
And so I thought that those would be the perfect people. And so my Mount Everest is to help 100 people achieve financial freedom through private money lending, and in that process, achieve $100,000 a month in passive income.
Love that. That's awesome. Very
Yeah.
cool.
And it's obviously a big undertaking to do that much lending. So
Right.
you definitely need to work with other people to get that done. And I kind of highlighted earlier, maybe taking the slow and steady route to that
Yeah.
with really vetting these operators with our own funds before like going into anything. So we've just started connecting people, even though this has been my Mount Everest for a while, but it's like you got to lend the money, you got to have the good
Right.
experience, get paid back, right? And so it's me and a partner that are doing it. We dispersed our funds across several operators that we both vetted. We're both on the emails. We're both seeing the communication coming back, and then we're moving forward from there. And so we're only just barely now starting connecting.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's very exciting though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very very cool. Awesome. Well, so I got one more question for you, and I really appreciate your time sharing your story.
Yeah.
Um, so you've seen a lot of things over the last handful of years since you've been in this space, right? And so and a lot of it you just have to kind of learn by doing. But if you had to go back in time and kind of give yourself or maybe somebody that's just getting started, like one piece of advice when they're starting their journey to go down that path into real estate investing, what would that one piece of advice be?
Yeah, so my number one piece of advice is to find something that you really like and stick with that and go after that for about 6 months. And so, what I see a lot of new people doing is taking action by getting on Zooms where they're
Right.
learning, and it is taking time and they are doing something, but
Hmm.
you're not actually taking any action towards something in particular. And you hear about, oh, like a car wash sounds really interesting. And then 2 days later, it's like, now I'm going to do RV parks. And oh, what about this wholesaling thing? And I
Yeah.
can be a gator and, do transactional lending and EMD. And it's just like when you go down these paths and you turn around, 2 days later, you're never going to get anywhere. And you're also not going to get anywhere by just getting on Zoom. So, learning is great, but then you have to stop the learning and you have to start taking action and then learn some more through that
Right.
and do it in a focused way for 6 months where you're just like dialed in on that one thing before you pivot. Because it may not be a good fit for you. And I'm not saying you should stick with something for forever, even
Right.
if it's a fit, but at the same time, there's something to be learned from everything. And you're going to go with the thing you think is the right fit at the beginning. And it's okay to pivot, but
Yeah.
at least, stick to something for about 6 months.
Yeah. No, that's amazing advice. I agree 100%. And I think the biggest challenge with that shiny object syndrome is specifically in real estate out of any other kind of venture that I've seen is that they all work, right?
Yeah,
You can make money in so many ways in real estate. It's crazy, but you can't do it all at once.
right.
And so like picking one lane, sticking to it, and then actually taking action, right? And I kind of take it like I like what you said because a lot of people do think that okay, I'm jumping on the Zoom, I'm connecting with people, I'm networking, I'm taking action. But education and implementation are different things, right? And so you have to take that information that you have and actually go and apply it to something that you can turn into to money, right? That's why we're in this space. Like obviously we it ends up being a hobby that we enjoy. Hopefully it does, right? Or a passion project, but we all get in this space for that financial freedom. So we need to have some sort of gauge on are we being successful, right? And so if you go after one thing for a couple days, switch to another thing in the next couple days, exactly like you said, you don't get any traction. And then at the end of the day, that person's just frustrated and says, "Oh, well, I guess real estate's not for me." And it's like,
Yeah.
well, no, you didn't. You just didn't take enough time to actually see if that particular thing works because you're too distracted by everything else going on around you.
Totally. And you can get, a false sense of understanding of how many times you need to make calls or how much action that you need to take by seeing, little clips and content out there that's like 45 minutes and I made XYZ dollars or, something like that.
Yeah,
One call close, whatever. Like those are great and they happen, of course, but there's a lot of deals that take, sometimes years of follow up or,
yeah,
things that. And if you don't stumble upon that, amazing home run deal on day one, it doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful, right? You just have to keep going.
totally. No, that's super great advice. Well, Andrew, I really appreciate the time. How can people get a hold of you if they want to connect, maybe learn kind of your strategies on private money lending? Maybe they are a really solid operator and they'd love a chance to work with you. What's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, so I'd love to connect with you on Instagram. It's at the Andrea Cannon. And also, I'm on Facebook as well. So feel free to connect with me on Facebook, but just send a message. There's so many people that can try to add as friends, and there's a bunch of people I don't even know on there if I do that. So send a
Right.
message, say how you came upon me, and we'll definitely connect. And I'm looking forward to it.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you again, Andrea. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until the next episode, I will catch you later.